Gmove and Waza to another episode on the Movecast, the community podcast on the movement ecosystem. Today with a guest from the US, Phil from Henrysocial, and besides that we have Towels, a well-known community member from the movement community who joined big news last week to the Movecast. Welcome, guys.
Gmove.
Yeah, Gmove, Waza, Henry. I appreciate you guys having me.
Yes. Yeah. So thank you for joining today. And Phil, we already had, we already met in Brussels on the FCC. Had already like a first interview in the little session we had. But for the audience who are maybe new or maybe didn't know you yet, give us a little introduction into your person. What led you into Web3 and crypto, and in the end, why did you choose Henry, or like why did you found Henry?
Yeah, for sure. So the shorter version of that is just simply, I'm high school friends with Rushi, and every time I'd hang out with him, he would just constantly shill me on crypto. I had no prior knowledge beforehand, but it just through him constant shilling. Like basically what you see on Twitter is literally him in real life too. So that's kind of how I started to learn about it. But the longer story of how it all came to be was previously I used to work at an early stage VC fund. It was mainly focused on B2B SaaS and early stage marketplaces. And when I was there, we really started to do more research into affiliate marketing. We just happened to be we happen to identify it as a huge growth driver given the rise of e-commerce. And it was basically there when I started to realize that Web3 technology and blockchain in general just had the potential to completely revolutionize the industry. Given the fact that it's a very non-transparent industry, very opaque. There's a lot of kind of problematic behavior between all the stakeholders involved. And that's what decentralization and blockchain tech is all about, right? That's what the original cypherpunk kind of values really are, which is removing the middlemen's, solving the transparency issues around the world. And ultimately, I saw an opportunity where decentralization could completely upend the industry. And, right when when that like aha moment hit, I texted Rushi. I'm like, yo, like we have to build this out. Like, what do I do? Like, how do I get started? And, immediately, he gave me like 5 different intros within the industry. I got my feet off the ground, and then the rest is history, and we just started building and grinding, man. That's kind of I think answers 2 questions, which is firstly how I got into Web3. The answer is I had a completely Web2 background, but Rushi really crypto pilled me, and for that same reason is also kind of why we're building on movement. It's really about that loyalty factor. Obviously, us being friends is one thing, but I think the fact that he was willing to really put his butt on the line for me and for the Henry team, constantly go out there and show us is something that I think is something that not a lot of founders would be willing to do for someone who's especially new to Web3. So for that, I'm very thankful, and it's why we stick around the movement community.
Dude, hell yeah. That's so cool. That kind of camaraderie you have with Rushi, that early friendship you have with him. It's like kismet, man. Kismet, you meant to be here.
Kismet. I haven't heard that term in a while. Yeah. Is that a Texas thing or a Southern thing?
No, I'm not sure. I think I read it like in a book some time ago, and it kind of just like stuck up in there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, man.
Well, guys, I know this podcast isn't about me, but I'd also love to hear how you guys got into the movement community. That's like what I'm more interested in.
Like into movement. So I came via airdrop hunting, like in the beginning of the year. I was farming different protocols in the testnet stage, and at some point I discovered movement, or another guy from my friends told me about movement, and at the beginning I couldn't really understand what it's all about, because there was, I think, not even like a real white paper or anything, but I joined the Discord server, and it was like directly pretty nice vibes, and you had this like railway with the guilds, so it made it super easy to dock into that community.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I think that's something super underrated about how the movement team executed, especially Rushi. I think like, obviously when you're building a community, I think most of the people who join start off as airdrop hunters is looking for that airdrop. But I think it's about that retention aspect that I think Movement has really killed it, which is how do you turn a bunch of, kind of community members who are, I guess, far apart in values, far apart in interests, and kind of combine them into one community and really make them feel at home. And I think that's something they've done an exceptional job of. And for that's why I think Movement will continue to succeed. Is even the airdrop farmers aren't going to leave, which I think is the coolest part.
Yeah, not same. Pretty much like lurking, sniffing around, looking for that airdrop. And I don't know. I watched some YouTube influence, and he said Movement, and I was like, all right. And I found the Discord, and yeah, like what Zadam said, like the vibes are cool. Like I don't know. I think dudes liked the Usedtowel handle, so I got a bit of a reaction on that. And then yeah, I think from there, like we were doing like just swapping gifs, communicating in gifs, and then I think the rapport was established through through like butt jokes, or whatever. And yeah, dude, like how you said, the retention is there. Like, I mean, I could have easily, like, I think I was in and out of Bera also, and I was checking out some other Discords. But what you said, like, yeah, the Movement had that retention quality that got me to stick around and, like, I don't know, develop more of a rapport with those dudes, So yeah,
for sure. Also, by the way, Towels, banger reaction video to the airdrop, man.
Oh.
Holy shit.
Absolute banger. I love that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I've never had that much, like, now, yeah, that's not me, man. I'm not supposed to have that much money. But
yeah, you deserve it, man. You deserve it.
Thank you, sir.
I think everybody was kind of surprised how big it went, but yeah. Cool. So, Phil, you mentioned you were from a Web2 background. Do you remember which transaction or anything or like the first thing you did on Web3? Do you have something?
Honestly, I don't actually remember, to be honest. I actually don't remember. I mean, I like even before, like when I was in Web2, I would still hold like ETH in some of the majors. So I wasn't like I wasn't actively involved, let's put it that way, but I was like somewhat involved with the industry. Yeah, it's like I think buying like a lot of ETH, I think was the first kind of big transaction, I guess you can call it, that I made.
Did you buy on a DEX, or did you set
No,
up
I bought it on a centralized exchange. First time around, I don't think anyone can use a DEX like the first go around.
Dude, like I remember I was downloading a wallet, and then the number one was MetaMask, right? And I'm always like paranoid about like the first wallet. I'm like, oh, MetaMask is not going to be a good one. And then I chose like some random one the first time. Yeah, I was downloading wallets because no clue what was going on.
Dude, even to this day, I feel like I still get a little nervous about transactions and stuff sometimes. Yeah. Like I still get nervous. I'm like, and like even like, I mean, I chose to defer my Move airdrop, and I put my my nightly wallet there. I'm still thinking like, am I actually going to get this thing, or is it just going to go with the thing? Like,
same, dude.
Like I'm always tripping about it, but I think it's all good. I mean, the UX is getting better in the industry, so it's becoming less nerve-wracking over time.
Yeah. Signing transactions, dude, that always trips me out too.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, signing is the worst, man.
Yeah.
So Phil, let's get back to Henry.
That's right.
Can you explain to us what Henry is about? Like, what is your product giving to the user, and maybe also what is Henry like? The name coming from? Is it like a special thing?
Yeah. So I'll start with what Henry is. I guess a little bit more context on kind of how it all came to be. When we were researching cashback platforms and affiliate marketing in my old fund, my first question was like, okay, well, how come barely any people actually use cashback platforms? Like if you look in the United States, like it pretty much only has like a 7 to 8% penetration rate, meaning only 7 to 8% of the population actually uses cashback platforms. But in reality, it should be closer to 100, right? I mean, it's literally free money. Like you're getting free money on every purchase. Like why would anyone not want to save money? And it turns out it's because of user experience problems. So, in the Web2 world, a lot of times, a lot of like users, when they shop and they use a cashback platform, either it takes too long to get the cash back, either it's just not compelling enough, or they just don't even get the cash back at all. And all of that kind of alludes to what I was talking about earlier, which is the opaqueness within the affiliate marketing industry, which is, a lot of times there's problematic behavior from the brands where, they don't pay the affiliate marketing fee to the cashback platform, and therefore the cashback platform can afford to give cashback to their users. All right. And then sometimes, brands say they'll, give cashback in 30 days, but in reality, it's more like 90 days to 100 days. And that's when the oh crap moment hit, which is like, okay, decentralization can solve all of this, right? Because if you have accountability mechanisms through staking and slashing, if you can somehow create like a validator set to like properly validate transactions to ensure that brands are not screwing you over, to ensure that customers or cashback platforms aren't screwing the brands over, it'd be a much better system, right? And then suddenly, you can have features like instant cashback. You could get double, triple the cashback you can get on Web2 platforms. And on top of that, it's just like, if you're not getting the cash back, you can also like better understand why, right? Which is that's a whole nother issue. Yeah. It's like, okay, maybe because you committed a fraudulent transaction, maybe because you're abusing the platform, like you'll understand why you're not getting the cash back. And so that's ultimately what we're working towards, right? Obviously right now we're still a relatively centralized platform, purely operating on stablecoin rails, but eventually we want to launch our own token. We want to decentralize the process. And even go further up in the stack in terms of launching your own decentralized affiliate marketing network as well, which also reduces the middlemen involved in the process of the brands paying us. So like payments, like along those lines, like payments is another huge thing that we're focused on. But sorry, that's a bit of a tangent in terms of what the actual product does. So for those of you guys who aren't familiar, Henry Lux Rewards, it's a crypto cashback platform that allows you to earn up to 50% cashback on all of your purchases. It's extremely simple. You just go either download a Chrome extension, or you can shop directly through our web app. If you're shopping using your Chrome extension, just go to the sites you would usually shop at, like Nike, Adidas, whatever it may be. Our Chrome extension will pop up. You just click activate, and then we automatically send you the cash back. There's no other user friction involved. And yes, that's the basic summary. And another cool thing that we actually added recently was we added DeFi onto the back end too. So now basically what happens is when you get the cash back, it automatically gets deposited into a DeFi vault. So you're essentially earning compound interest on your savings. And if you actually continue using our platform over the course of 10, 20 years, and you're saving 10% each time, and it's compounding through compound interest, through yield generated through like Aave, in movement skates like Echelon, Meridian, you're actually able to completely neutralize your consumer spend over the course of 20 years. So imagine living your entire life without spending a single dollar on anything, like any clothes, anything is the ultimate goal of what we're really trying to achieve. So that's just kind of the high level summary of Henry.
Dude, that sounds powerful. It's incredible to me that people were hesitant on picking up free money just because of the experience. Like I could like the way you explained it, like obviously that makes sense, but the fact that it was just like this interaction that prevented them from because we all want money, right? Money, we're here. So I think that's fascinating that it really heads home how the experience can really determine whether or not something is successful or not, even though it's a no-brainer. Like cashback rewards is a no-brainer.
Yeah, and it's ironic too, right? Because I feel like a lot of times, crypto has this reputation of having a worse user experience than what you see in Web2. But I actually think in our case, it actually improves the user experience. Yeah. And I think that's kind of the direction where the industry is headed, which is asking ourselves really okay, what can crypto actually do to help Web2 experiences become better? Right? I think that's where the adoption really happens. So super excited to kind of roll it out and continue decentralizing the platform.
Dope, dude. Yeah, it's super exciting. And then you guys are building a crypto backend, you said, a network, and you said that was tangent. That's fine. We could talk about it later, though, if you think that would be appropriate. But I think that's super exciting because from the stuff that I've looked at, Henry, well, obviously, I'm not on it all the time, but that's definitely I'm just hearing about that right now. Well, I'm not sure if that's public information, but
it's actually not. Yeah, it's actually not. Yeah, it was the first time anybody's hearing about it.
Oh, dope. Alpha, indeed. Yeah, that's super exciting, dude. That's also a no-brainer idea. It's you once you mention it, it's so obvious, but then until you get there, it's like, oh yeah, we can also do that with it. Yeah, good for you, Phil.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I think an example I like to draw with kind of what we're doing is if you think about what decentralization fundamentally solves, it's incentive misalignment, right? And that's why, like, I'll give you an example. Like DeFi, for example, what it fundamentally solves is incentive misalignment between banks and the people, right? And like another hot idea that obviously isn't possible these days, but hopefully will be in the future, is decentralized voting, right? I mean, Towels, I know you live in the US, so I think you can probably agree that a decentralized voting system would probably be beneficial to all Americans, right? And what that fundamentally solves is incentive misalignment between the government and the people. And so I think, like, if you abstract that idea of blockchain fundamentally solves incentive misalignment, the number of use cases is unlimited, because if you look at like 90% of the problems in this world, it really just stems from incentive misalignment. And so you can insert blockchain technology into pretty much any one of these given cases where there's incentive misalignment, and ultimately, create a use case out of blockchain. And that's exactly what we're doing for affiliate marketing, right? Because there's an incentive misalignment between, the brands and the cashback platforms, because the brands are fundamentally looking for net new distribution, right? But with cashback platforms, people like me and you, like, we're just existing users who go to our favorite stores on cashback platforms and are just arbitraging this kind of free money that the brands are supposedly paying us, right? So there's huge incentive misalignment, which leads to a lot of problematic behavior from both sides, both the brands and the cashback platforms. And so that's ultimately kind of where the problem really stems, and why, a lot of these existing cashback platforms really struggle to gain scale, is because, they have to deal with the brands kind of, doing bad things, is the best way to put it. So that's where I think decentralization fundamentally comes in and really solves a big issue.
Right on.
Very cool. Yeah, I think you already explained very well, but maybe to summarize it again. So you identified in traditional cashback systems or cashback applications the users' lack of like a UX, like a well-functioning UX, and also, as you said, there is misalignment of incentives. So, and you guys try to solve that by
Exactly.
by going on Web3. Amazing. And I think mostly many people gonna use cashback apps maybe on mobile. Is that something you are working on as well?
Yeah. So this is something I think we realized a little too late, which is, I think most people shop on their phones these days, especially abroad. I know Towels, you probably shop online or on your computer sometimes. But I think the reality is, like, in a lot of the hotspots in our community, like Southeast Asia, for example, India, Africa, pretty much everyone only shops on their phone. So we're racing to get our mobile app out there. And we should be launching that end of December and on the Play Store, and then iOS in the middle of January sometime.
Dope.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah.
And you guys are not only using like DeFi, which you already mentioned, but for those who follow your socials, you probably couldn't miss like the NFT which is coming up. Can you give us some more details into this this product, more or less?
Yeah, for sure. I'm not going to lie. So the NFT project kind of started off as like Rushi basically, seeing the success. At least I think so. I can't confirm, but I'm pretty sure he just saw the success of NFTs on Barricade and was like, okay, like, we need this for movement. And then so he texted me, he's like, can you launch an NFT project? And I'm like, okay, sure. But then I actually thought a little deeper, and I think, like, the NFT project really will have value add to the Henry ecosystem. Because eventually, like, a lot of the decentralization stuff and the benefits of it within the context of a cashback platform, it naturally requires a token, right? Or some form of kind of equity or skin in the game to kind of create accountability measures. And I think, like, that's fundamentally what the NFT will do. So there'll be a lot of benefits for users holding our NFT in terms of what they can get on our platform. So this is actually the first time I'm saying it now, but what they're going to be able to get is double, triple the cashback, faster cashback, near instant. And a variety of features across the ecosystem as well, the rest of the movement ecosystem. So some of our partner ecosystems also will be releasing some benefits on their platforms as well for Henry the NFC holders. And yeah, eventually, as we grow, we want our NFT holders to grow with us and the NFTs to grow with us. So it's almost, I guess, another way of looking at it is like a symbol of our growth as well.
Dope. That's great how like Rushi got at you to get those NFTs, and then you're like, all right, and then you're like, oh, this is how they can work. This is how they can actually add value to like our system and stuff.
Yeah,
So you
exactly.
kind of had like to reverse that one. That's great.
Yeah, usually it should be the other way around. In this case, it was the total opposite.
Yeah, but I think the NFT story makes also some sense for your not only your customers but also the shops at which your customers buy. Because for example, some shops could like emit some NFTs of themselves, and some customers could acquire them, and if they acquire it, they could get some special perks or something. So that's maybe something you can look into as well.
That's actually, I actually haven't even thought about that, but that's a really great idea. That's a really great idea. Thank you for that.
So yeah, I wrote actually I read a quite nice book about that. It's I think the token everything. I can drop you the link afterwards. It's actually pretty nice because it explains how those incentives which you mentioned before can be best aligned between the shops or the businesses with their customers. So yeah, that's for my opinion, still not used enough in the industry. But yeah, cool.
Yeah, for sure. Eventually, we do want to move more towards kind of the loyalty aspect because right now, kind of the way we view ourselves is really, if you think about a marketing funnel, we're more so top of funnel, which basically means that we're really kind of giving brands exposure to new customers. But eventually, we also want to move to the bottom of funnel, which is retaining those customers after they've already kind of entered or gained that brand awareness. How do you retain them? Is kind of the tool set that we want to move towards in the future.
Yeah, I think this is a good segue to like maybe talk about community and stuff. How do you see community coming in? Like now that you're rolling out the NFTs, what kind of role do you think community plays for Henry? And like how do you include community as well?
Yeah, no, I think it plays a huge role. I think firstly, starting with the NFTs, I think like that, it's honestly blown my mind how much like the NFT has actually like connected the community, really created like almost like cult-like following for Henry. I'm still a little salty we lost that poll to the gorillas, but it's all good. We still have a really strong community of people backing us who got our backs. So the community means everything to us. I think at the end of the day, to be able to get brands like. Here's what I'll say, right? So for our specific products, we don't have the benefit of being, just a decentralized platform so anyone in the world can use us. And the reason being is because we actually have to go out there and get brands from every single region that, our community is in, right? So like, for example, getting brands in Nigeria is actually quite difficult, even though a lot of our community is from Nigeria. And this is something that we've struggled with, we still haven't figured out a solution to, but it's something that our community is actively helping us with, which is, okay, like how can we actually get Nigerian stores on board? How can we actually get utility for the Nigerian people? And neither me or anyone on the team is Nigerian, right? So without the community, this would physically be impossible, right? And so that's where the community really comes into play. And I think like having the community actively contribute to our core product, give recommendations is something that I think really kind of bootstraps loyalty and also bootstraps interest because I feel like they're more involved with the core ongoings of the product. And so the community plays, an extremely large role in kind of how we operate, how we plan to grow in the future. And, I think also the fact that in a lot of these regions, we haven't been able to get stores on board just because of, legal regulation hurdles. And yet the community in those regions still stick by us, I think is extremely powerful. And so we're super grateful to them, and they'll continue to play a large role in our product going forward.
Wow. That's a great answer. Yeah. Super happy you got the community. Full disclosure, I voted for Henry on that poll.
Thank you, Towels. Thank you, Towels. Sure. Absolutely.
I saw the ratio and I was like, oh man, that's messed up. I'm going for Henry.
I saw that ratio and I'm like, I get it though. The gorillas, you guys have one of the strongest communities I've ever seen. So
that was an unfair poll.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I'm happy with our community. You know, the fact that we even got 22%, the fact that we even got one vote is good enough for me. So,
Dude,
you know,
Yeah.
I'm
you
super,
deserve it all,
super,
man.
super thankful and happy for those who voted for us.
Yeah, but the gorillas were quite long friends with Henry, and yeah, we really like your product, your servers, and yeah, our
Yeah.
connection is already quite long, I would say. So yeah.
I appreciate that, Adam.
Cool. So yeah, besides like the topic of community, we can again maybe talk about why Henry came to movement. Like I guess community might be one reason. You also mentioned already Rushi being a close friend to you, but yeah, maybe you can explain to us again like how you got introduced to movement, or maybe how Rushi introduced you to movement, if it was the case. Yeah, so basically what move built you?
Yeah, no, I think, I mean, the short answer there is I actually knew more about Move than I did the EVM when I first got in. Rushi was just constantly showing me on it. But I think even beyond that, so there's two main reasons kind of why we stick around. Like obviously, you know, the loyalty, the friendship aspect is a huge portion, but there's two reasons beyond that. I think firstly is community. I think what Movement has really given us is the ability to bootstrap community, which, you know, for a consumer app is the toughest part of any aspect of company building, which is kind of getting from 0 to 1, getting that initial user base, which, you know, Movement really kind of just gave us day one. And, you know, they've given us, the Movement community has given us incredible feedback on how we can, you know, fix our products, grow and scale and so forth. And, you know, for that reason, I think that it just got our feet off the ground, which I think is the biggest impact Movement has had. But the second reason why is because you know, DeFi has been in part of our vision for a long time, you know, integrating that DeFi component, because ultimately that's what's going to be the big money saver, right? I mean, if you're getting like 2-3% on cash, like on your purchases in cash back, it's like, okay, who cares? But it's like, okay, what if like over the course of 10, 20 years, you know, instead of just saving 2-3%, you could save 100% through DeFi, right? So DeFi has always been a core component of how we want to stand out compared to our Web2 competitors, because quite frankly, they can't even do that. I mean, you can't even get that kind of yield, you know, 15, 20% in the Web2 markets, right? So, and kind of just relating this back to the point, which is that I think Movement's going to win on DeFi. I think it's just undeniable that, you know, reentrancy is just too big of an issue for, you know, DeFi projects in the EVM. You know, from what I've seen, I also the Move, for some reason, I can't explain why, but the yields I've seen in the Move ecosystems are just higher. I don't want to ask where the yield comes from. I'm not going to, but I'll just go with it. But regardless, I think the security aspect is something that is incredibly important to us, especially as we decentralize more and also integrate DeFi in the back end.
Yeah, I think when we talk about yield, actually, the first thing I was thinking about was, will you get cashback in stables, or will you get it in the Move token, or will be there other opportunities? Because I think that can be actually a big part of the yield as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think like, so we're mainly focused on stables for now, just given the fact that we are trying to expand more to Web2 audiences. You know, I am a Web2 guy, so I really only know how to go to market in Web2. So for that reason, I think we want to kind of remove as much crypto as possible from the front end and really just try to target the mass audience. And you know, just try to get the masses on board and build for the 99% rather than, you know, just the top 1% of traders out there, which I think like a lot of protocols out there just really build for. And it's also why I really respect Rushi too, because he really wants to get that 99% on board. And he really cares about them. And so I think that's also another reason why we want to align with Movement. But yeah, so point being is right now we're mainly focused on stables. Eventually we will start having majors. We will have ETH and Bitcoin soon and Solana. And then obviously some alts as well, Movement being the main one there, Move token. So yeah, it's kind of the direction we're headed.
Right on. And then you've kind of already kind of going over it a little bit, but yes, I guess like your experience so far building on Movement has been pretty like good to say the least, right? Like, I mean, yeah. I'm not sure if you have anything to compare it with, but so far I'm pretty sure like the people you've encountered, like what's going to be possible through the tech, like the experience has been something where like rewarding and something that like, yeah, you're happy to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the ecosystem is great. I mean, the dev experience honestly was pretty simple for us. In terms of kind of like how the backend is structured, really just running on crypto payment rails. So the deployment is actually super easy regardless of where we go. So I know a lot of builders sometimes complain about the hurdles of switching over from the EVM to MVM, but we didn't really have to go through many of those hurdles. So dev experience was fine. Really, what we cared about more so was just ecosystem. And I think like the builders, the people. I mean, I feel like I just love everyone I meet. Everyone's so friendly.
Wonderful.
The builders are all cracked out of their minds. I love it. I love it, man. So it's been a great experience so far.
And then I don't know, given your experience, would you have like any advice or anything you'd like want to share with anyone maybe that wants to get move pilled but maybe hasn't hasn't like been put in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, just take the plunge, man. Just take the plunge. It'll be rewarding. Like I think like you won't find a closer knit community out there. You won't find like a better group of builders. A founder that's as hands on as Rushi. And I think like again, like I mentioned, like for any builder, in my opinion, even more so than anything technical related, the hardest part is getting from 0 to 1. The hardest part is raising capital. The hardest part is those early days when you don't really know what to do business wise. But you're kind of just like maybe cracked out coder, maybe you're kind of just like a shy nerdy person, which fits the typical profile of a builder. But someone like Rushi really helps you kind of get your feet off the ground and get you out of that comfort zone that I think you're probably used to as a coder or a software engineer. So I think Movement is by far the best place to start building.
That's great. That's always great to hear. That's always great to hear.
Yeah, and especially it's so great to hear that the vibes are not only in the community itself, but at the builders level as well. And
Sure.
that's something what I actually already heard a lot. So I think that makes stuff really, really much easier.
For sure.
Amazing. Yeah, so when we think about maybe Henry in 10 years or 15 years or something, what could Henry look like in its final form? Like, where do you see Henry's place in the future where maybe crypto is even more in the daily lives? Or you mentioned already, like in the 99%. Where do you see Henry in this time?
Yeah, that's a question I've actually been thinking about a lot over the past, 2 or 3 weeks or so. Where I really see Henry in 10, 15 years is just the dominant affiliate network out there. First truly global affiliate network, fully decentralized, the connection point between brands and advertisers with zero friction, permissionless, anybody can join the system. I think in 10, 15 years, long gone will be the days where, affiliate marketing is kind of an exclusive industry, which is a huge problem right now, by the way, which is, a lot of, influencers, cashback platforms, even brands who want to join the system and really advertise, they just physically can't because the KYB requirements are just too stringent, given the problematic behavior I mentioned earlier. And yet it remains $100 billion global industry. Like $100 billion flows through that system every single year, which is absolutely insanity when you think about it. And considering the fact that, 80% of brands, 50% of influencers can't even join that system. I mean, just think about the potential of how big it could really be, right? Think about how big affiliate marketing, affiliate networks could be if it weren't for this siloed, opaque system that currently exists out there. And so, if Henry can step in, really create the infrastructure to create, a fully decentralized economy around affiliate marketing where, you have these publishers such as cashback platforms, influencers, blogs, you have, brands of all sizes, not just the top dogs out there like Nike, Adidas, even like the small mom and pop ones out there that, we all love. I'm sure we all have that one small brand that we all love. If they can join the system of affiliate marketing, really be able to advertise to whoever they want globally, I mean, that's a system that I think is unbeatable and I think will really, grow the industry, 2-3x if done right. And on top of that, you look at like I mentioned, countries like Nigeria, like a lot of these emerging markets, they don't even have affiliate network infrastructure in the first place. Right? I mean, it's just physically impossible for them to build out, just given the stringent requirements that are required from the brands and also the publishers. And so, being able to onboard them through a permissionless system, having like the local mom and pop Nigeria brand be able to advertise to people in the United States. I think is something that will be incredible, right? Like it's how you really grow an economy. It's through global distribution. And so I think like through that lens, I really think Henry can be something big, and we're super excited to kind of work towards that vision.
Yeah. Yeah, you got me pumped. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, to have that mom and pop store being able to like utilize and harness the power of like what decentralization can do for their brand or their store. Yeah, it's incredible, man. And then
man.
you know, going back to this idea of like irony, right? Like it's kind of hard to for these shops to kind of get their foot in the door because of, I guess, whatever the lacking infrastructure. So there's kind of like an exclusivity kind of going on right now. But
Yeah.
when it's actually meant to like kind of like meant to be, you know, for the masses and stuff. So yeah, it's going to be interesting how like things kind of develop in the next like I don't know decade and stuff, especially like infrastructure, and then yeah, like geez, multi-billion like this seems like just such an untapped market, especially like the capabilities that are going to be able to be like unlocked with like this emergent tech and stuff. Wow. So yeah, I think this is going to be a really exciting sector to kind of keep an eye on, I guess, as things develop. Really cool.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, for sure. No, I appreciate that. And like, yeah, I think when you look in crypto, a lot of times people gravitate towards kind of these big, super hot narratives like, you know, DPIN, alt VMs, like, DeSci, whatever it may be. I think like affiliate marketing just inherently is never going to be the hottest narrative out there, right? It's just like something that I think a lot of people in crypto just simply don't understand. But I think what we're really on a mission to do is kind of prove that, you know, if you build for real world use cases, if you build for an industry specifically, you know, it's a huge industry, but might be relatively unknown to crypto folks. You can still build a really big project that has a strong community that a lot of people really love. And so I guess that's almost like, an ulterior kind of aspect of, you know, why we really want to prove ourselves. But, I think like we really want to kind of create the shift within the industry where people kind of gravitate more towards, solving individual problems within individual industries rather than just one big kind of category that, sounds cool per se.
Yeah. No, yeah, the vision seems strong, dude. Yeah. Misaligned incentivization, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah. Today I learned.
I'm glad I could help, Sal.
Always, yeah. I need all the help, bro.
Fantastic. Yeah, really, really interesting. I think a quite interesting project which Henry is, especially with the focus on its Web2 problem, which it tries to solve. Phil, do you have anything else you would like to share with the community or say to the community? Because that's as I always try to do with the Movecast, because the Movecast is the podcast for the community. So do you have to share something for the community?
I'll just say for Henry right now, if you are posting within the next 12 days, we are launching a 12 Days of Christmas campaign. A lot of things coming along, including increased cashback, free giveaways, whitelist giveaways, charity donations, just a lot of stuff just to give back to the community as a thank you for people sticking around and really supporting us. So if you guys would like to participate in any of those campaigns, just be sure to follow along our Twitter, join our Discord, and we'll continue announcing them as the days go along.
Oh, yeah, definitely. People get out there.
For sure.
Nice.
Oh, and also G. Henry.
Oh, yeah. G. Henry forever.
G. Henry.
G. Henry.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. This is awesome.
Absolutely, man. Pleasure.